Hello and welcome to this B1 Usability Package 6 sneak preview. My name is Rasmus Wolf Jensen and I'm the CTO of Boyum IT, and I will be taking you through this presentation of the upcoming release of B1 Usability Package. First thing I want to share with you is that we, with B1UP 6, will be supporting SAP Business One 9.0. And that includes, of course, the new Crystal Report 2011. In general, for the release, we will be supporting SAP Business One 8.82, patch level 7 or higher, and the new 9.0 in 32-bit and 64-bit. Other than support of 9.0, the big new features are in universal functions, where we have two new function types. And the first one is called Universal Functions File Export. What file export means is that you can take database data, use SQL or C#, run it to a template that you define in the configuration, and end up generating files. So you can essentially make export of data from Business One out to files. And many people might say then, okay, SAP have some built-in file exports, but there's some advantages to this compared to what SAP has built in. First of all, anyone who knows SQL can make these files. So with SAP's built-in function, you actually need to know some Crystal, and that's not needed in our case. You can also make any kind of file. It's not only XML. Any kind of file is supported. And the most important part is you can run it just like a normal universal function. So you can run it off a menu item, a function button, a B1 validation system, and later on I will show you that you can also run it on a schedule. This is the configuration, and a small sample here is, you can see this is an XML file, and I put in some keywords, this card code with the @ sign, card name. There's a little funky syntax here on running to different lines. And within those, I can for each line get additional data out in the system. I can tell the output part, where the file needs to go, type, Unicode, defaults and such. Identify my header source, in this case just card code and card name from OCID, and I define my line source, again just SQL, and the result will be, if I run it on Business Partner Nom Thomsen, data of the keywords will be replaced and all the invoices that are related to Nom Thomsen will be displayed in the system. So quickly back again, a template, some source data from here, and if you are more advanced, you can actually use C# as a source instead, and the result file that you can do whatever you want with. We will also provide a little tool, so for example for the most common easy upload and download of FTP. So that was file export. But we also have file import. So universal functions file import. This is not for consultants, but more for developers because it requires C# knowledge. Here, it's the reverse. You have a file, you do some C#, and you end up with some new SAP data. That could be invoices, business partners, whatever. The advantages over custom imports is that this C# code is compiled on the fly, so it's actually written within a configuration. And you can change it on premise. You don't need to recompile it, and you don't need to install anything new. So a little bug fix is just going into the code, writing it. And we actually provide a free Visual Studio-like editor with IntelliSense. Also, the benefit is that you do not need to know anything about the file work. You just need to point where the files are, and we will check for intelligent file archiving pre-folder checks, all the stuff about file work is done for you, so you only need to care about the business logic. Again, we deliver a free FTP utility, and these can also be run on a schedule. Here's a screenshot of one of it. So basically, you need to write some C#, and you need to fill out the data within this public method. Again, that can be anything you want. And all you need to define is where is your folders, where you have your work data, a success folder, error folder, and a log folder. So, as mentioned, universal functions now also have a scheduler for these two new universal functions, file export and import. It looks like this, and it looks a little like the B1 printer delivery scheduler, because it's again the B1UP server component that will handle the data. So I showed a little export scenario, and in here I instead set up that on a schedule every day at 2 o'clock. The file should be generated for all business partners which are in the US. Again, it's completely up to you what the conditions are, what files are made, but you can essentially make files on a schedule. Moving along, one of the big investment areas we have made for B1UP 6 is in function buttons. So function buttons haven't changed that much since version 1.0. And really back in that day, we wrote this tagline for function buttons: place up to 10 buttons on every window in Business One and choose from up to 30 functions. This is now going away because the limit of 10 buttons are going away. So that statement is obsolete. Instead, function buttons will look like this. So instead of only having the 10 fixed points, you can now have as many buttons as the screen allows. And it has been made so it's more user-friendly, it's faster to run, and also we have something called multi-buttons. So multi-buttons, you can see a multi-button here, and if you choose a multi-button, you will actually set up sub-functions for that specific button. So in here I made a button, and it has order, delivery, invoice, and credit note. And the end result of that is a button with a combo box select here, where you actually choose between them. So even if you haven't had enough screen to put in more buttons than 15, 20, compared to the limit of 10 now, you can actually make these buttons have multiple features as well. Moving along, we also have made some enhancements to item placement tool in order to make it easier to work with. First of all, it's more intelligent now. It doesn't make as many mistakes when right-clicking, when the data is not correct from SAP side. But also, one of the major new features that many people have asked for is that if you have combo boxes on the right on the UDF side, and you put them on into the main screen of SAP, we have always had that limitation that if it was related to a user table, we lose the define new feature. So you couldn't go and say define new and choose a new value and put it back into this combo box. That is now finally in 6.0, and it will just happen automatically if it's related to a table. Also, we have made it easy to add golden arrows for UDF. So if you have, for example, a UDF that contains warehouses, you simply take the golden arrow new column here and choose warehouse, and it will automatically create the golden arrow for you and have it work with going to the warehouse yourself. type supported for Golden Arrow is the same as in Content Creator. So business partners, GL accounts, all the most common ones, and you can make your own by just choosing custom, so you get the Golden Arrow, but you define the functionality using B1 validation. Moving on to one of the most popular modules in Usability Package right now, which is the B1 Print and Delivery. And B1 Print and Delivery will get a new, very exciting feature called custom reporting. So in order to explain this, we need to answer a few questions. So right now, with all the different documents we support, sales and purchase documents, which documents are we missing? Are we missing any specific documents, or well, what is missing? What could people want to print out and deliver with emails? Well, the answer is every other screen. So let's support everything. And we will even support other add-ons. So imagine you have an add-on that doesn't have any printing by itself. It knows a little about what business partner is, contact person. You would actually be able, with custom reporting, to make it work with B1 Print and Delivery on any screen. It will require that you provide the crystal, because we can't know what crystal you want. And you need to provide a few key information so we can find the business partner on the screen and or the other key data in the system. So this is how it looks like. It's one of the mass delivery configurations, because you can use it on mass delivery and the scheduler as well. And you need to provide some kind of SQL. In my case, I've made it so it works with the recurring invoice. I need to provide the few basic features like the primary key, the business partner, and the contact person. Then, from a UI standpoint, I need to tell what kind of window we're on, where is the doc entry actually shown on the screen, where is the business partner code shown on the screen, where is the contact code shown on the screen, and what language do I want to run then. If there's some of these I don't have, I can leave them out, but then I will get less functionality. So if you don't know where the business partner code is, we can suggest the emails, for example. So that's from the UI side. From the DI side, we need to know a little about what the table is, where, again, the primary key is, where the business partner is, the contact code is, and the language. And if you can provide us with these information, or most of them, we can figure everything out from that. So when you do the report configuration, it will be of category custom, and you will then be able to choose your different custom deliveries. So this one I can choose here. And from there on, it's exactly the same as the rest of B1 Print and Delivery. You will be able to do emails, prints, mass delivery, scheduler, the works. One limitation though is that in order to use the dynamic syntax in emails and in the names of the saved PDFs, you need to teach B1 Print and Delivery a little about the dynamic syntax on the window you're working on. So in order to use those, if you need them, you need to go to the screen in question after you've created the functionality, right-click and say Map Form to Dynamic Syntax. Then we will map the system and be able to use the dynamic syntax in the server component. Moving along, we have something new called configuration categories. This is not as such a user feature for the customer. It's a user feature for you who set up all these configurations. So what it does is you can go in and create your own categories of data or categories of configurations that fit together. So if you have made a rental solution or some kind of solution that have defined a lot of item placement tool function buttons, B1 validations, universal functions, you can now on each of these screens choose the category. And that means if you choose the category, it will be able, by right-click on the screen in question, or by going to the configuration and choose the overview button here, you will be able to go in and see all configurations that are linked to that specific setup. This is the first step in we are making mass export for the entire database. Many people have requested that in the past, and we have been slowly making it in steps: export, export all, import all, and such. And the final step will be this mass export. So right now you can only see the configuration as an overview to get an understanding of what you have made. But later on, these configurations will be able to be mass exported later in 2013. Moving along, we have something called .NET Snippets, which are for developers and for people, or at least if you have some people make these snippets for you, then you can use them as a consultant. The reason we have made this is we are trying to get rid of a basic issue, that is that when you're doing B1 validations and macros, you might need some more advanced information, like for example, is a field right now enabled? What is the current pane right now? What is the line number? What is the newly added ID we just put in? And we can keep on making keywords for you, but they're not very discoverable. And as an example, 2 of these 4 are actually already keywords. That's the current pane and the newly added ID, but nobody really knows. And the other 2 is not there, so you can't really make a validation that says if this field is enabled, do this. If it's not, then do this. So .NET Snippets are made to end the need for further keywords. Instead, you can make them by using .NET and make your own keywords. So we of course understand that not everyone is C# developers or BB developers, but so we will instead be building up a .NET snippet library on the website, so you can copy paste. So if other people have asked for a specific keyword, you can actually just go and get that keyword from our website, or you can develop them by yourself. The way it works is that you on, for example, a macro can right click and say .NET code. Then you write in the .NET code here a code, and the code will become the keyword, a description, and then you have the full range of C# or VB.NET to use the form, the application, the company objects as C#, put them in there, and return the value. So in that case down here, I made a keyword called pane level that will actually get the pane level of the current form right now. Final new feature I will show you today is the new right-click mode. So this is the normal mode. There's one more new menu item here, but else we have all the common menu items. And the problem is that as Usability Package gets a lot of features, the right-click menu is kind of clogged up with all these features. So what we have done instead is that in this new B1 Usability Package, which have the configuration overview, that's for the categories, you can now choose an option, say move configuration right clicks into this submenu. So you can go from the normal configuration mode into usage mode. So when you are done creating all your configurations, you can move them in here, or if you like it more than this, and we will only keep the functionality menu items out directly on the right click, while all the things for configurations and setup will go into this screen, and it will be tucked away so the right click is not that clogged up anymore. This is per user, so you can add it or take it away as you want. And it's a very nice way of getting rid of all the stuff after you're actually up and running with your system. And with this, it brings us to our last slide today, which announces that the beta of B1UP 6 is ready today. If you go to this URL, you will be able to download it and try it out. We really would like you to do that. So thank you for watching, and as a final note, the final release of B1UP 6 will be on the 15th of January 2013, but please try the beta and give us all the feedback you can. So thank you for watching.